Welcome back to +5 Range. I am Erin, your host, and this is a video series all about expanding your gaming horizons. So in this one, we are going to take 5 classic games and give you some possible alternatives that you can bring to the table instead. Let's get started. First up, we have Scrabble. We decided to start with this one because it is such a classic. Everyone knows Scrabble. It is the game where you have little tiles with little letters on them and you place them on the central board to try to build words and score the most points. As an alternative, we decided to go with Paperback. In Paperback, you are playing as a novelist who is trying to build the best stories, the best words. In order to do that, you have a handful of cards, and those cards have letters on them. You combine the letters to build words. As you build words, you get even better letters back. The person with the most points at the end wins. We thought that this was a really fun alternative because it keeps that same word building, languagey feel that Scrabble has, but it's different enough that it feels kind of novel. Next up, we have Sorry. In this classic game, you are moving around the board and essentially trying to screw over your friends at every possible opportunity. The catch is that it's mostly luck-based. So as an alternative, we are suggesting Gravwell. In Gravwell, you are also moving around the board. The catch is that the board is spiraling a black hole, and if you don't escape, you're gonna die. You are not alone there though. Your friends, your table mates, your fellow game players are also spiraling their certain doom. In order to slingshot yourself out of this dying galaxy, you need to play cards that either propel you away from or move you closer to other players. And these cards have effects on other players as well. So while there is strategy in what cards you play and when, there's also a component of luck involved in the game. The game plays pretty quickly, which is another bonus, in comparing it to Sorry, which is a very family game. It is very quick. Also, Gravwell has a lot of take that kind of mechanics in it, so if you like making your friends cry and you don't necessarily mind not always knowing what's going to happen next, try Gravwell. Another classic game is Risk. This very, very, very popular war board game is almost entirely random. Ostensibly, it is an area control / area majority game where your army is trying to take control over the most territories on the world map. However, the battles are all done via dice, and you know what happens when dice get involved. So, whoever ends up winning is usually just the luckiest person at the table. As an alternative, we are proposing 1775. This is a game about the American Revolution. Players take on the roles of the British and the American armies fighting for control of the colonies. There are still dice involved, the battles are still resolved by dice, but there are also cards, there are ways to mitigate your luck, and there is a little bit more strategy than in a classic game of Risk. We thought that it was a really good alternative because it still has those things that you might love from Risk. It still has that element of chance and that element of risk, but it also lets you temper that a little bit using your wits. 1775 is a great alternative to Risk. And now for my favorite. We all know how much I love Clue. I love Clue the board game. I love Clue the movie. I love Clue the VHS game. I even love Clue the documentary made about Clue the VHS game. Fandom is real. So, instead of Clue, which is your classic deduction game where you have a lot of hidden information and you are moving around this creepy old mansion to try to find the killer, I am proposing Mystery of the Abbey, in which you are moving around a creepy old abbey to try to find the killer. I love these games. I love these games so much. So, in Mystery of the Abbey, you, the player, are trying to figure out which monk killed the other monk. And to do this, you are moving from room to room. When you land in a room with another player, you can ask them a question, but they can ask you a question too. At the end, you have to try to figure out who done it. Just like in Clue, where you have to try to figure out who killed Mr. Body. Mystery of the Abbey was put out a while ago, and it can be a little tricky to find. It's still out there, but it can be a little tricky to find. So we thought it was the perfect substitute for Clue. Still deduction based, still super fun, still would totally get me to come over and play anytime. And finally, no list of classic games is complete without the most classic of classics, Monopoly. I'm sure that a lot of you have mixed feelings on this. I have mixed feelings on this. No, I don't. I don't like it. I don't like Monopoly. A lot of people don't like Monopoly. Monopoly is a roll and move game, essentially. You roll some dice, you move over places, you get screwed out of a lot of money by your friends. The most fun part of the game, though, is the wheeling and dealing. It's the negotiating for places, it's the negotiating for money, and whatever else you want to negotiate for, because no one plays by the real rules of Monopoly anyway, so you can do whatever your friends want. In Chinatown, which is our alternative, it removes all of that bad, boring roll and move-ness and keeps all of the negotiating. So in Chinatown, you are trying to build up Chinatown. To do that, you're drawing tiles out of a bag and placing them on the board. The catch is that you're always negotiating with the other players at the table to get some tiles from them, to get control of a tile that's already in the board from them. And pretty much the whole game is that give and take, that push and pull between players. If you really, really dig that part of Monopoly, then give Chinatown a try. You probably won't be disappointed. If you really, really dig the roll and move part of Monopoly, I'm sorry, I don't have much to tell you. That is +5 range. I hope that you found some alternatives to classic games in there and that you are going to be able to expand your gaming horizons. If you have other games that you think would be good substitutions to those classic games that we mentioned, please leave a comment down below because I love to see what you guys are playing and what you guys think. As always, like and subscribe down here. Hit those buttons if you enjoyed our content. We have a Patreon up and running, and if you do want to support us, that is a good way to do so. As always, we will be back soon with more videos for you. Bye!